All right, folks, welcome back to another episode of the Movie Fellas. We're back on our Friday 13th retrospective. Yes, folks, that's true. We've decided to review the entire series. It's going to be a long and epic journey, Nick. How do you feel about this?
I feel like you hate me. I thought that was the name of the podcast, is I hate you. You say it so much.
I tried. It was already copyrighted. I couldn't do it.
Oh.
Do you know how many Friday 13th movies there are? Do you know what we're in store for here? How many weeks? How many episodes? How many hockey mask killings we're in store for?
Well, first, I do have a question. We don't have to revisit Freddy vs. Jason, right?
No, you'll be spared Freddy vs. Jason. Folks, if you want to hear that, that's in the archives. In fact, I would recommend it because that was a rant like Nick has never done before and may never do again.
We'll probably never do again unless we do The Village. Then there'll probably be a rant on advertising more than the movie itself, but...
Mental note, first episode after Friday 13th series, The Village.
We're done with Shawland for the year. You know what? You do that to me, we will do Midnight Mass.
Why?
You know what? Apostle.
Never seen it, but feel like I probably
Ritual is more of a creature feature. Apostle is now on our list.
That's your list. I don't have that list, all right?
It's on
and
our list.
I don't want that list.
You want that list.
That list comes to my email. It's going to junk mail and then delete it.
Not only you'll appreciate the subtlety of the horror along with the not so subtle brutality of this damn cult in Apostle. It's brutal.
Yeah, it's gonna be brutal watching.
A lot of fight scenes are also brutal in this movie.
Watching it, I'm gonna feel it's gonna be brutal watching it. That's true. Anyways, when we last caught up with our sackhead buddy, he was...
Well, hell, we don't even need to worry about catching up because this movie does it for us. Now, how about we just meet Harold and Edna?
No, you will not ignore the recap.
Yes, I will ignore the recap.
The first 10 minutes of the movie are the last 10 minutes of part 2.
And we don't need to see that because we already established Muffin survived.
Okay, sure. But you know who also survived? Fucking Jason.
Yeah.
Because Jenny just left him there, and let me give some quick background. The original story pitch for the movie was actually Jenny in the hospital recovering, and Jason would somehow come to the mental hospital.
So I guess Jenny is Jason's sister. Jason has the same curse as Michael Myers. He has the curse of thorn on him.
I hope not. But...
that would explain a lot.
That would have established some nicely done continuity for the series, and instead of that, they said, hey, what about that 3D gimmick? This is 1982. There was 3D in the Jaws 3D movie. It wasn't very good. It's actually the most hated Jaws movie in the franchise, but they said, hey, let's put Jason in 3D.
The 3D Jaws the Revenge, or was that part 4?
I think that was part 3.
Part 3 was Revenge. Okay, never mind.
Yeah. 3D back in 1982, not too sophisticated, as we'll see in the movie. Not too much...
subtlety?
This is not Marvel 3D, watching the Avengers in theaters and IMAX in 2020.
Well, for one, Marvel didn't even... I don't think Marvel did 3D for that, did they?
A lot of Marvel movies were in 3D, that's all I'm saying.
Since when? I never watched it in 3D.
Did you miss the whole 3D, bonanza where all the movies were coming on 3D?
I literally just saw Doctor Strange... multiverse movie, and it was not in 3D, madam.
First of all, don't call me a madam, all right? I'm not licensed to be a madam, all right? Secondly, yeah, they stopped now, but there was a good 10-year period where everything was in fucking 3D.
Captain America wasn't.
Yeah, but Captain Pakistan was. And you didn't see that one, did you? Because you weren't paying attention. If you were, you could have saw Captain Pakistan in 3D, and you know what? He would have kicked Captain America's ass.
No, because now, Jensen Ackles is Soldier Boy.
Oh my God. Let's talk about Edna from Friday 13th Part 3.
She wasn't that cute.
I think she was.
Well, I guess...
Did you see those hair curls?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of curls.
Because Crystal Lake is so big, Jason wandering from the scenery of Part 2 somehow ends up at this convenience store where Edna and her husband Harold are living peacefully and just living their life, mind their business, but now Jason has shown up in her backyard where she's dry cleaning her clothes.
I got the real horror of this scene is not Jason. Is the fact that this man can take a dookie, pull up his pants, and walk around normally.
Look, he sensed death in the air. He knew he was going to die 3 minutes later, so it wasn't really important. It does suck for the coroner who's going to have to examine the body. But in the short term, for Harold's own sake, it didn't really matter.
Anyway, and then his wife, hearing a small commotion, goes to look, finds a rat, and then gets stabbed in the back of the head.
Now I gotta say, of my many complaints about the movie, I think this is a pretty good opening scene. I mean, there's some suspense built there.
The only thing I have an issue with is the very obvious 3D in your face bullshit.
Well, that's gonna be throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be a complaint no matter what. I do like that they showed a news report on the TV actually naming Ginny, which my only problem is if you're gonna do that, then like bring her back in the series. You're making it known that she's a survivor, and then you never hear from her again. It's like just either move on, but don't give us that little.
Which also they say they don't announce the names of the other characters because they dead. I'm just thinking, so you announce the name of the survivor when the killer is still on the loose.
Not only that, but historically, the last survivor was Alice, and Jason came back and fucked her up like 6 months later.
Exactly.
So like, if I'm Ginny, I'm thinking, hey, this happened before with Jason. She better not come back to Crystal Lake to get over her mental issues later on.
No, she's probably still in the mental hospital.
See, I don't think she...
Because she... You know what?
No, I don't think she went crazy, though.
You know what?
Her asking for Paul doesn't mean she's crazy.
Actually, no. I figured out this new theory.
Okay.
The reason why Paul is nowhere to be found and why there was only 8 bodies and 8 dead and not 9 is because Paul was a figment of Ginny's imagination.
Ah.
She was already insane. She was already crazy. Being attacked by a serial killer definitely did not help. And all the stuff Paul did, she actually did. She is superhuman. She has multiple personality disorder, so she's in the hospital for the rest of her fucking life.
I think that everything you just said is bullshit. And it's a discredit to Ginny, who is like the most level-headed, strongest female character in the entire series. Like, that was a sassy girl with a head on her shoulders. And that's why I don't even buy that she went insane. Now,
just wait until you meet Chris.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Now, Chris, I'm going to actually be like, okay, well, maybe she went insane after the events that we're about to go through. But Ginny, I feel like, was a strong character. I think most fans would have liked to see her come back. I don't know what the story is. They're not coming back, but they went a different direction, and she didn't come back. But
I guarantee you they probably threw some kind of Easter egg in that Friday 13th game that neither of us played.
Yeah.
Because they did something like that with Trish.
Given the story, it's like you can only bring them back if Jason's following them to like a hospital. There's no reason for her to come back and be at Crystal Lake for the next movie. So it's like you'd have to take Jason out of Crystal Lake and blah, blah, blah. So,
but she has to face her fears, and she has to
that
find
worked out
Paul.
so well for Alice.
And she has to find Paul. My theory that Paul is actually a figment of her imagination is correct, sir.
In the list of your worst theories, right, there was the Tremors Predator connection, and now something has superseded that. Something has taken over number 1 on the list. And it's this motherfucking Paul is a figment of her imagination theory, all right?
You're welcome.
I saw Paul fight Jason in a fist fight. That was her imagination fighting Jason?
For one, it was a slap fight because
it was a
actually
physical
threw a punch.
struggle / alteration.
And 2, it wasn't Paul, it was Ginny fighting Jason there.
Holding her own against Jason in a physical fight because Jason was like actually struggling, so.
Yes.
Well, let's move on. I don't have time for this nonsense.
Well,
all right?
Since we got past Edna's death and Harold's gooey booty death.
Gooey booty? Never say that again, please.
Gooey booty.
Nobody should ever speak those words.
We now get to meet our cast of very likable, very nice, and understandable characters. The names are Chris, very original. No one's ever been named Chris in their whole life. Andy, again, another very, very serious name for such a serious movie. Shelley, probably the best name in all movies ever made. Vera, your crush even to this day.
Everybody's crush. Everybody should like her.
Debbie, the sister from Wild Thornberrys. Chili, because who doesn't like a good chili cheese dog?
Oh, God. I think Chili has to be a nickname, I'm guessing.
And Chuck, because...
Chuck and Chili just go together.
Exactly.
I have a complaint about a lot of the Friday 13th movies. And it's a complaint about many horror movies, though. And I always pick up on this. I'm always like, there's always a group of friends.
Yes.
My biggest thing is always, does this group fit together in a way where you could actually see them becoming friends and hanging out? And Friday 13th movies are specifically bad about really always having a random group of stereotypes who you're just thinking like, how are these people friends? And this particular group is mostly okay, but these stoners, Chuck and Chili, look like they're 20 years older than the teens. How? What?
Bet they're actually Andy's parents.
They're someone's parents. Those are not. Okay, you have a cast of teens. Those are not teens. Those people are in their 40s or late 30s. It makes no sense. They're in the back of the van. And also, by the way, when the van is smoking and Chris is like, or someone's like, the van's on fire. Did they just forget that there's stoners in the back seats smoking up? Would that make more sense?
You know what would have made more sense? If they say, you know, van's on fire, they open it up and see Chuck and Chili and go, who the hell are you? It's like, hey guys, want some weed? It's like, okay, we'll take them with us. That would have made a little bit more sense because, yeah, they acted like there's nobody in that van when they said, oh, the van's on fire. Maybe these are just two characters randomly added before when the script was finally finished.
What I feel bad for, actually, is Vera's mom, because it took me back to when I was a kid, and the doorbell rang, and my mom came and opened the door, and there was 4 white people outside. 4 white people, and they were like, hey, we want to take Vic to the camp, to stay at a camp, a lake.
You're not white?
I hate you. And my mom, in her Pakistani language, basically in the language, like, no. And I didn't go. I just listened to my mom and was like, have fun at the lake. Now, this is why Vera's mom is so, like, hesitant. She knows that they want to go swimming and skinny dipping and do all this dumb shit.
Vera's mom and your mom are friends?
You don't even know the fun in the story, right? They went to the lake without me, right? Those white people that came to my door were never seen again. They never came back. I never saw them again.
They were trying to sneak you out, and then your mom got a hold of them in the middle of the night.
No, they died at the lake. Somebody killed them.
Your mom.
You know, whatever. My mom's not Mrs. Voorhees, all right? My point is that Vera's mom is just like, hey, yes, maybe not.
To be fair, Shelley may not be 100% white. He may be a troll. He may be a goblin.
I want to give Shelley some advice there, because
going up to a random Hispanic woman in a mask is not the best introduction to yourself.
Yeah, but the one thing, he has one first impression to make, and the one thing, if he feels like he's not attractive, the one way he can easily quickly overcome that is by showing supreme self-confidence. So when she's like, you're Shelley, and he's like, sorry, don't apologize to her. You're making yourself look like pathetic, basically. Even if she wasn't attractive physically, if he'd have been like, damn right I'm Shelley, or just something confident, or made her laugh in that moment, good first impression. Immediately he's establishing, this is me, I look like this. Like, no, that's not the way to go, because he does almost slowly win her over as the movie goes on, but just first impression here, she could have been on board quicker with him showing confidence here. That's all I'm saying.
So I'm assuming you identify very closely with Shelley because you were in this predicament once and it did not work out in your favor because you were not confident.
Yes.
And then when you realized it was you became confident.
Well, then Jason killed me, so yes.
And then Jason killed you.
Yeah, so without Jason
I'm talking
killing
to a ghost.
Yes, without Jason killing me, I'd have been all right.
Something tells me Andy and Shelley, Andy probably likes the type of humor Shelley does.
Yeah, you don't get too...
I mean, look when Shelley pulled that prank and fell out of the closet.
He knew immediately to, like, tickle his stomach.
Like I said, that honestly feels more like, yeah, they've been friends probably even longer than when they've been roommates.
Yeah, so, okay.
They could just be childhood friends that grew up somewhat differently.
Yeah, so...
stayed friends.
So my thing is, Andy, the whole ride over there, should be prepping him like, hey, this is what you need to do. This is how you need to act, basically.
He did when he was walking up to the house.
Just don't let the man walk up to the house in the damn mask with the fake plastic knife. Come on.
Yeah, he should have slapped him upside the head. He's like, take that shit off.
Because she's already thinking then, well, and you're a prankster? They get in the van, they go, and there's some funny stuff happening on the way to the house.
Like psycho balls.
Yes.
Our crazy Ralph stand-in, he doesn't have a name, so I'm calling him Psycho Balls.
I've warned thee. I've warned thee.
So now we get to meet our love interest, very strong, very dashing, sweater vest wearing Rick.
Let me ask you a question. I just want to understand. They come to the house, Higgins Haven, which is obviously her family's place.
Yes.
She gets out the van and walks in. at the door, she notices that the door's open.
Yes.
And we already have the point of view shot from inside. We know someone's inside.
Yes.
When she walks in, she knows someone's there. The door's open, but she's acting like very like, is somebody here? Did she not know that Rick was meeting them at Higgins Haven? Because common sense for her to be like, hey, maybe that's Rick. But she's like, so like, is somebody here? Why is the door open? Like, why are you surprised?
Well,
Did that make sense to you? Because I'm like, of course it's Rick. It sounds like you made a plan to meet him here. Oh yeah, where the hell was Rick's car at though? Shouldn't she have seen Rick's car in the front somewhere? His
You'd think.
His little bugle, circus bugle thing.
You'd think, but
Anyway, that's maybe a
so
error, but
yeah, but Rick, we pretty much get to find out he's strong. He's able to pick a human up easily. All this, that, and the other. So we're just thinking, okay, so when shit goes down,
he also looks like he's 40.
so when shit goes down, he should be able to take care of himself.
I think that from the first couple scenes, I'm predicting we're gonna have an epic confrontation at the end between Rick and Jason. And it's gonna be a who's who guess of who's gonna win that fight, because if Paul could fuck with him, there's no reason why Rick shouldn't be able to fuck with him. So.
Exactly. So we will find out when we get there. Otherwise,
Let's be
that's
honest.
really the only characterization we get with any of these characters.
No. Everything with Shelley and Vera is pretty fantastic, but
Shelley fake dies.
he does fake die. But I know why he's doing it though, because they went skinny dipping and he
remember,
felt
he's not
excluded.
skinny.
He's not skinny enough. He felt excluded, so he immediately was like, okay, well, how do I get their attention to do this thing? Basically, I don't think it means any harm. I mean, it's a cry for attention, basically. But
He wants her lovin's.
I don't know why he thinks that you can prank your way to a girl's heart. I mean, that just makes no sense. But
It depends on the girl. I'm sorry, if I prank a girl and she starts pranking me back, oh, it's a match made in heaven.
yeah, but she doesn't prank him back.
No, because
She clearly
she's
doesn't
literally
like it.
She's literally too serious.
Yeah. Well, there's pranks, and then there's pretending you're dead. Might be a little bit extreme for people that you just met to like actually fall dead out of a closet. So.
Right. So
But my point is going to be that the first half of the movie is very slow. There's really no deaths in the first half of the movie. It's a lot of just characters talking, and you have stupid yo-yo scenes for 3D effects.
Yeah. I'm assuming they cut out a scene that probably would have made a little bit of sense, but pretty much Vera leaves because she's pissed off at Shelley. Shelley decides to go with her, in a sense, I'm assuming to apologize and also spend some time with her.
Smart move. This is a good move on Shelley's part.
Something tells me there was a deleted scene between the house and the actual store before we get the bikers, because all of a sudden they seem cordial and pretty okay with each other. It's like she wasn't just pissed at you for scaring the shit out of her.
I think it all depends on how far the store is, because naturally, once they got in the car, they probably talked a little bit on the way to the store, otherwise it'd be awkward. So probably talked a little bit. And then at the store, this is actually kind of a weird bonding experience because...
They get attacked by bikers.
Yes, bikers.
I got their names here. Fox, Ollie, and Random White Guy.
I thought his name was Random White Guy. I didn't know for sure. I'm glad you confirmed that for me, though.
Well, it's mainly because I looked up the IMDb, or not really IMDb. I just went on Google, typed in cast list, and
It
for
said
some reason
random-
the guy doesn't come up.
What the hell, man? I hope he got paid.
I hope so too, but yeah, his name does not come up. His face does not come up. So I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Fuck it, Random White Guy.
Well, for this podcast purposes, Random White Guy.
Just so everyone knows, Random White Guy's name is actually Luco or Loco. So I'm guessing he's crazy, but you know, so it makes sense. Random White Guy.
I'm gonna call him Four Loco.
I'm gonna call him Random White Guy.
Shelley shows some character development here because,
He runs over bikes
hey, look,
like the dick he is.
no, he was being bullied and he fought back against the bullies.
He didn't fight back. He ran over the bikes, fighting back.
You
would have
want
gotten
him to-
out of the car
All right,
and beating the shit
all right,
out of
all right,
Ollie.
all right. We know from history that we know you've killed many people. And you always kill the bullies, your plan of getting back at them. But Shelley did it the right way. He scared them and then drove off. That's the
He
way to
didn't
go.
scare him because they followed him to Higgins Haven to siphon out gas to burn the barn down.
I don't think so. I will say this. When they get to the thing, Ali says something genuinely that makes me think that he's not a bad guy.
No
He-
one's going to get hurt.
He tells his girl no one's gonna get hurt. But he's very serious when he said that. He has no intention to actually hurt anybody.
No.
He just wants to even the score.
Well, yeah, but again,
I can see that Ali's a good dude, actually.
but burning down an empty barn, no one is going to get hurt. And he kind of gets a payback a little over than his bike getting ran over.
And by the way, I wanted to mention at the store, it was really his girl that was being a dick. Fox was being a dick at the store.
Yes.
Holding the wallet and all that stuff like that. Ali really didn't do anything bad until Shelly, as you said, like...
ran over the bike.
Yeah.
Because then he punched out the windows. And then Rick's like, what happened to my windows? Oh, don't worry, 20 should cover. It's like, who?
But what's funny, I'll say this though, is when Shelly was trying to drive away, Ali was running to his bike. So was he going to try to like chase them down or something like that? That did seem a little bit extreme. When Shelly came back, he actually stopped him from following him. It's actually a good move.
Well, apparently not, because they found him.
Yeah, how the hell? It must have been like a straight shot down the road, and there's Higgins Haven, because they show up like 5 minutes later.
I don't know, but...
And by the way, if they're trying to be hidden and be like incognito, why the hell is Fox so interested in this damn barn? She sees the barn, she's like, oh my god, a barn! It's like, it's not a carnival, it's a damn barn.
Who knows? They could just be traveling bikers, and she's never been to the countryside, never seen a barn.
She has no reason to go inside the barn like an idiot.
She's hoping for horses.
Yeah, she's gonna get a horse, all right. A sackhead horse. And then her dumb ass is swinging off the rope. Whee!
And then she dies.
Yeah, and then, okay, and random white guy, what are you doing walking in the barn?
Well, now he's going in there to get Fox.
He's like, what the hell? You walk in, what do you think happened to her?
This is why I feel like they were
If you think something bad happened to her, why are you walking in?
This is why I feel like they were planning on burning the barn down. Because why would he walk to the barn after siphoning out the gas?
I honestly think they were just siphoning the gas. I think they were just literally...
What, they're going to just hide the gas in the barn?
Maybe. They had the gas tanks. They weren't going to burn a whole barn down. They're not crazy.
Well, no one's going to get hurt as long as no one gets close.
I think that's risky as hell. To burn the barn. If anything happens with someone running the barn burns down, they're on trial for murder. I don't think they're doing that. I think they're just siphoning the gas.
They most likely would have left after that. Set the barn on blaze and then took off. Ali got his revenge. He doesn't even need to see it.
These bikers dying, it's so funny because...
Except Ali, he gets knocked out.
Yeah, but it was all self-inflicted because if they don't go in the barn, Jason wasn't coming out of the barn after them. Jason was actually just chilling in the barn, and they come into where he's chilling at, where he's hiding. Jason was not coming out that barn to kill them. They killed themselves by one. And then, Ali, what are you doing walking in the barn?
Look, now he's looking for his girlfriend and his buddy. His buddy drops on top.
Well, he's really looking for his girlfriend.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about the white dude.
Well, that's because it's a random white guy.
Yeah, he's like, Fox! But he's not really,
But then he sees Jason.
Now
tries to fight.
This is a great scene. He sees Jason, finally a smart character. He immediately picks up the first weapon he finds. I was always wondering, like, when he walks in the thing, right? It felt like Jason came out of nowhere, but on the Blu-ray, I can see Jason was hiding behind a sack in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
So when he sees Jason, it's a pretty quick.
Oh yeah, and then.
And why doesn't Jason kill him? He just beats him.
I feel like this would have been a better death for Ali, just because what we actually get his death is kind of stupid.
So, do you want a real quick cut to that just so we can talk about Ali in general real quick?
So Ali's death is...
There's two ways to look at his death. So here's how I look at it. It was stupid what happened, but here's how the fans see it. They feel like ultimately the only reason that Chris survives part 3 is because Ali, with whatever, gave her that temporary distraction for Jason to do that, and then when he turns around,
the axe goes in his head. But yeah, granted, so, I mean, that is the reason.
So basically, Ali, I don't think he was trying to sacrifice himself. He didn't give a fuck about Chris. But as it turns out, if he didn't come in for that temporary moment, she was about to die.
Oh yeah, and to be honest,
he is the MVP basically. So,
and to be honest with you, I would have rather her die, and Ali not get this sacrificial, stupid ass death.
I would have liked the death better if it wasn't just his, if it was like his hand getting chopped off was just stupid.
If maybe he actually got a few blows in at Jason, and Jason just knocks his head off.
Well, it made Ali look stupid because if Ali wakes up, and if you wake up and you see what's going on, I'm tiptoeing right out the barn, going back to my bike. I don't think, knowing what he knows,
Fuck these crazy white people.
I don't think he's like, come here, man. Oh, my hand. Anyways,
Yeah.
let's go back. I just wanted to give Ali justice in terms of like, I mean, he's really the last survivor, basically, outside of Chris. So, in a
Well,
way,
so now we get Chris's backstory. Everyone hold your horses. Jason has sexual feelings.
this scene
Is
of any
awkward.
scene makes no sense of the rest of the series because
awkward, too.
it's very awkward, and there was a lot of pushback from the lead actress who played.
Well, isn't it because she's Mormon?
Yeah, the actress who played Chris. She didn't want to like even hint at the idea of rape per se, but so they're kind of in a weird in between place where we don't know what happened because Jason's attacking her, and then.
She passes out.
And I'm just thinking, like, okay, what we know of Jason, would that stop Jason from then killing her? Like, how did she get out of that? If she passes out and Jason's there, how does she survive?
Well, this is, to be honest,
Unless he took her hostage. Which,
since Jason is mentally ill, when she passed out, he probably thought, "Oh, I just scared her to death. I'm going to walk away now." Anyone, if you're sleeping, you must be dead. So I'm walking away now.
but maybe he was just trying to kill her. I don't know.
It is weird.
It's like a different character.
It's weird.
Even the part 2 Jason would have done that.
It's out of place.
So that whole backstory, like when we get into what I would take out, I would just take that whole thing out. I don't think it actually. It's the Alice thing too. If that happened, like why even coming back here? First of all,
Right.
but I don't think that adds anything to the movie.
So I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Throughout this whole thing, did you ever hear the car on, or did you just see lights?
Ah.
Because and it's really,
I don't know.
it's really
Interesting.
minuscule, but it kind of shows me that Rick is a dumbass. He's definitely just a musclehead because anyone who knows cars knows if you don't have the car running and you have your electricity in the car going, but the car not running, battery gonna die.
I mean, I think he's probably never changed a tire because when Vera and Shelly come back from the store and his reaction is like, my poor car. The way he says it makes you hate the character.
Right.
He's not asking them, like, what happened to you guys? He's like, my poor car. It's like, maybe they got attacked. Like, why don't you ask them how they are, asshole?
But still, and then he's so surprised that the battery died. He goes, "Oh, damn it, my battery died again." It's like, bitch, maybe if you didn't leave the fucking lights on with your car off,
Yeah,
the battery would not be dead.
the longer the movie goes, the more I'm starting to think, maybe he's not the one to protect Chris and have this epic battle with Jason at the end. Maybe not.
Maybe it's Shelly. Oh, wait, he gets an off-screen kill. Maybe it's Vera.
No.
Oh, she gets shot in the face with a harpoon gun.
And that's a good death because it's actually, first of all, this is how Jason gets his mask.
Yeah.
Finally, they realize that, hey, there's no longevity in sackhead Jason. we can't,
Well, he doesn't even have a sack in this movie because it got destroyed in the previous one.
Yeah, he let go of the whole sack thing. He was willing to just go like straight up
Face.
face,
Ugly ass Jason face.
which in part 2 had long hair, and this one does not have any hair.
Yes.
He just got a haircut between part 2 and 3,
Yes.
shaved his head.
Yes.
Oh, okay, all right. Shelley's death,
It's off screen.
that's horrible.
Also,
That character deserved an on-screen death.
I got a question. I know Shelly is a prankster, but he even says to himself as he's calling out to Andy, he's like, "Andy, are you doing anything in there I shouldn't see?" And then walks right on in. He's like, "So you are going to walk in on your boy that you believe is having sex with his girlfriend in the barn and just think nothing of it?"
I got even more for that, though. Shelley strikes me as somebody. I'm just going to go project his background. To me, and it's not just because of the pranks, just even like the mask and stuff.
Because he reminds himself as fake.
No. I'm guessing Shelley actually watches horror movies and knows horror movies. He just feels like the type of person who, like, knows horror movies.
Well,
And
this is a horror movie. Horror movies do not exist in this day and age.
yeah, okay, maybe, but he would have some awareness a little bit about that. But the thing too is, like, to add on your point, he walks in the barn, he locks the door behind him. What the hell, man? Why would you walk in? You don't sit in there. Why the hell would you close the door behind you and lock it?
So this is why I say
Fucking
horror
Shelley.
movies do not have horror movies. There's no way they can. Otherwise, all these characters would be self-reliant on themselves to know, hey, I walk into this barn, I'm gonna die.
This movie has way too much relying on people coming into the fucking barn. Like, this barn is used so, it's relied upon so heavily in this movie.
Including the climax.
Yeah, like, my God, like, all these characters walk in the barn and die. It's not even Jason walking around killing them. I almost have this idea.
Children of the Corn.
I almost have this idea that Jason actually was gonna leave them alone if not for them keep coming into the fucking barn. He was just hanging in the barn the whole time. He never actually comes out to kill them.
Children of the Corn. Pretty sure there was a Children of the Corn movie where all the children did everything in a fucking barn.
Well, that was.
I've only seen 5 of the
That was
movies,
one of the sequels that nobody's ever seen. So
I've only seen like 5 of the movies, and I do remember movie number 5 had them fighting the lead child on top of one of those water towers that had flaming pits of fire in it.
Well, actually, I got a really good theory. Think about this, and this makes sense with the movie.
And what, my theories aren't good?
No,
Fuck
I got a good theory. Actually.
I hate you.
Think about this: Jason, without the sack, is like somehow shy and stays in the barn. But once he gets Shelly's mask, he's back in the world. He's back out the barn. He's ready to go on his killing spree. But until he gets that mask, he stays in the barn.
Yeah.
So there's something there.
Well, now we're about to get pretty much our death relay because everyone dies in like 10 minutes.
Well, look, I like Vera's death because it's weird, but Jason's aim is impeccable apparently. But
Yes.
he looks like a badass with a spear gun.
Andy's death.
Handstand guy, listen, never do a handstand
In front of Jason.
Just period. So now, I mean, in terms of Jason very quickly getting his body hung up above with no ladder or anything, okay, Jason. I mean, that was pretty quick for you to do that, but okay.
Well, and don't forget Debbie's death is just another rehash of fucking Kevin Bacon's death.
And she's pregnant. What the hell, man?
So it should have been stabbed through the stomach, not the chest. Get it right, people.
My point.
Well, it's Italian,
My
so.
point is, why the hell throw in that random dialogue about her being pregnant? That was just the most useless, never followed upon, useless dialogue that makes the whole thing just terrible.
It was so useless that me and you didn't even mention it until just now.
I mean, I was thinking about though in the watch along we did because it just doesn't.
Well, because we were watching the watch along and we're like, oh, she's pregnant. She's going to survive. Oh, no, she didn't.
Why put that line in there? It's like, I don't understand.
Chuck's death walks into Jason's hand. Why? He literally sees Jason and then walks into his hand. Like Jason just holds out his hand like he's damn Arlie Ermy from Straight Metal Jacket, Full Metal Jacket, and says, choke yourself.
Listen, here's the thing.
You've seen that scene, right?
Yeah, but I got an easy fix for this movie. These stoner characters are the most useless characters, right?
Well, yeah, he gets fried.
We have a whole...
Literally.
I know, but I'm saying we have the whole first half of the movie where the problem is there's nothing going on with Jason, no deaths. Kill these stoners in the first half of the movie. Why are they still here at the end?
Well, that way Chili can then have her best epic run throughout the house ever. I mean, it's more epic than Chris's chasing. It's more epic than Rick's fight scene.
She runs through this cabin that's clearly an open floor layout plan. How the hell does she not see Jason on that one level where you can see everything? It's not, there's no walls closing up. She could see Jason there in the living room.
Real question, why didn't she fucking run?
She ran into Jason.
Hell, she was going outside, the door blows open, and apparently wind scared her so bad, she turned around into Jason.
When she came down the stairs, she looked to the side of the room. There's nowhere for Jason either. It's an open floor plan. I don't understand.
I mean, she was stoned, I guess.
She got hot stoned too.
So I guess being stoned in this movie, one, it doesn't affect everybody because everybody ate that weed in the beginning and no one got stoned.
True.
And then when you are stoned, you are just stupid.
True.
I didn't know being stoned made you stupid. I thought being stoned made you ask really weird questions that actually make some damn sense.
No, but you're missing the point of if you're already stupid, then you get stoned. There you go. That's Chilean.
Yeah, because Chuck, like I said, he just walked right into Jason's hand, and then he became fried a second time.
Yep.
A little too literally. And then Chili, her insides were chilly, so Jason warmed them up for her.
He solved that problem.
Yeah.
Listen, from what I've seen, this Jason guy is pretty unstoppable. There's only one man that can save the day here, and his name is Rick.
Not true, because Jason, I guess, gets him from behind and
What?
smashes his head in.
What the hell, man?
So Jason already has his brute strength in this movie.
He pops his eyeball out, which makes for the worst 3D effect ever.
And I'm just wondering, why build up this character to be the one to fight against Jason and then just kill him off in like 2 seconds?
It's such a weird contrast because in part 2, like, Paul's a badass. Paul's fighting Jason, like having a struggle,
but
and then
Paul's
you get Rick.
Who's supposed to be the badass, because Paul, when you look at him, is like, oh, well, he's going to die quickly, and then he actually fights.
Like, Rick, there's not even a struggle. He's literally just held like a little kid, and then his eye pops out.
I don't mind the death. I just mind the fact that Rick didn't fight back.
And what's up with the close-up on his shoes? He was wearing Nikes. I'm like, what kind of product placement in 1982 is this? Like, they did a close-up on his Nikes as he was dying.
So now we get our final girl circuit, where, you know...
I like how you called it circuit. That's true.
Yeah, where she runs to the house, Jason gets to her, she hits him, she jumps out a window, she hides as Jason comes out, and then whacks him again.
Look, and then Jason also about it throws the knife. You know, I know it's different than the other ones, though. It's Jason in this movie, though. They made a conscious choice to have him like give sound effects when he gets hurt. He's like, oh, ooh, ah.
I think in the fourth one he does the same thing.
No,
He doesn't.
There's no noise in the fourth one. It's in this one he's just like, oh, ooh,
He's still technically a living person in the fourth one.
That's why I don't
getting
understand.
hurt.
In this one, he still gets hurt in the fourth one the same way, but in this third one he's like.
He's
in pain. He's like, oh, my leg. Like, he's like actually like he's talking basically. Mm-hmm. It's really weird.
And it also kind of helps make the audience feel that same pain.
Yeah. When he gets stabbed in the leg, you can feel his pain.
I was like, okay.
I'll say this, to credit to the first 4 movies, I would say each movie, like, the final chase scene in each movie gets better with each movie.
Mainly because it's a little shorter and each one's also a little bit more, I guess, action-packed.
Yeah, like that. If you watch, and that's why when you go back and watch the first one,
it's so
with
boring.
Alice, it's horrible because then if you watch part 2, 3, and 4, you get these epic final girl Jason encounters. Like they give them a solid 15, 20 minutes just to like chase.
Well, hell, this one wasn't even 50 minutes. I feel like this one may have only been 10.
But a lot happened. She ran to the car, came back. She had to hit him in the back of the head.
Yeah,
a lot of stuff happened here.
Yeah, and then she goes to that wretched barn.
Wait, though. There's one thing we missed, though. We gotta talk about Rick's fucking body flying through the window as if he was shot out of a cannon.
Well, this time it was Jason.
I don't know if Predator could have done this. He came through the window as if he was at like maximum 50 miles an hour velocity.
Okay, did you not see what his mother did with Brenda?
I know that.
If that's what his mother can do with Brenda, what can he do with Rick?
Who directed that scene? Was like, okay, we want his body in like full like 5 feet in the air, fly through the window.
I wonder if they told the actors like, hey Rick, one last thing for you to do. Run and jump. Right through that window, play dead.
This and the entire series, this made Jason look like the strongest person ever because literally to throw like a bigger person, because Rick's actually bigger than the Jason actor. He threw a bigger person like a lawn dart, like he was shooting a damn dart.
Brenda was also bigger than Mrs. Voorhees, and she still chucked her just as hard.
Old woman strength.
I'm telling you, if that's the strength of Mrs. Voorhees, what kind of strength does Jason have?
Yeah, the problem is every final girl kicks Jason's ass, but he's throwing Rick like a damn lawn dart. He can't throw Chris like that because she beats his ass.
So anyway, during the climax, Jason gets hung. Then he comes back. Ollie comes back. Then he becomes a pincushion.
Nice knowing you, Ollie.
And then he gets an axe to the head, where he still tries to reach out for Chris, and then drops dead.
And again, it adds nothing to me that Chris recognizes him as the guy who tried to rape me. Like, I just think it's unnecessary.
Well, what's really unnecessary is this whole ending. And
they hint, and again, they do this weird thing. Like, Jason treats her special. He takes the mask off and smiles at her like, he's like, oh, I'm going to get you now. It's like, again, they're making Jason like a rapist in this movie. It's like, he's killed all the women in this movie. Why? Like, unless she has something very specific that turns him on, I don't know, but
Her Mormon culture.
there's one scene in this movie that is literally, for me, for my money, it's one of the creepiest things in the entire series.
Is it that ending when they window with
When
the
she's in
bloody
the
J-
boat, because you can imagine you wake up in the boat and you're just like, ho hum, it's a sunny day, I'm in the boat, and you're just looking around. If you look at a house and look at the upstairs window and you see fucking Jason looking at you like smiling,
Which, by the way, that was her window. That was her bedroom window when she
Yeah.
was a kid.
to see that, and then he takes off running, and then you see him come out the front door.
So it was,
That was so creepy to me for some reason.
for me, the creepiest part was him in the window. When he busts through the door, I'm just like, meh.
Because if you're in the boat and you see him in the window, and then immediately like she's trying to move and the boat won't move, you're just like, oh my god, this is like the worst case. I just woke up, and why is he? But this is all
A dream.
a dream sequence.
Because then
It makes no
Mrs.
sense.
Voorhees jumps out of the water and pulls her under because everyone loved that part of the first movie,
But
right?
this was nowhere near the jump scare that, and that first movie, that when she comes out of the water, literally one of the biggest like out of nowhere jump scares ever. I would say this one didn't have the same effect.
Well, that's because everyone saw it coming. It's like anyone who's seen the first movie knows what's about to happen because they technically did it with the second one too, with busting through the window. Because I just realized all three of these movies ended in a dream sequence.
True, but as a dream sequence, and Chris is the one having the dream sequence, it makes no sense for her to be dreaming about like kid Jason in the water because this movie
It wasn't
never
Kid Jason,
actually
it was Mrs. Voorhees.
her dreaming about any of that stuff doesn't make sense because this movie, for the characters of this movie, they never hear the name Jason. There's never any backstory of Jason given to them. They know nothing about anything Jason in this movie. If you watch the entire movie, none of these characters have ever heard of anything to do with Jason. So her dreaming about anything to do with the first two movies and all that stuff like that, it makes no sense. The word Jason is never spoken in the movie even.
Well, here's another thing.
That's just random killer to her, not Jason. So-
Here's a random thing I actually just thought of during that backstory when we see Jason going after her to rape her. He doesn't have the sack on his head, but yet, to our knowledge, from the whole time of the second movie, even before then, he had the sack.
Yeah.
So when in the timeline does this attack take place? Because she's also the same damn age as she is here.
Well, it's actually said, so it's funny. It's said in a weird way. She tells Rick, she says a line that makes me understand what happened. She tells Rick, she's like, it's been 2 years, but it's felt like forever. So the last time she was there was 2 years before the events of this. Now, this takes place a couple days after part 2, right? So
If not literally just 2 days after, 1 or 2 days, yeah.
now, it's sort of, the tracks are covered away because part 1 and part 2 have like a time jump of like 5 years.
Yeah.
So, okay, so 2 years ago, Jason was in the woods, basically. But you're right. Based on the events of part 2, he should be wearing the sack.
Yeah, why would
Maybe he doesn't wear the sack at all times, though. I don't know.
So does that mean she just got really close to his shack that night while he was trying to sleep and then he hears her?
A bigger question, though. If that actually happened and she clearly doesn't think it was a dream sequence, she think it actually happened. Did she not, like, alert the authorities or anybody about somebody attacking her? Because
'cause-
that would have prevented the events of part 2 if, they go to open the camp and they're like, hey, what about some monster attacked this girl like a year ago?
Or in part 2, instead of a bunch of camp counselors, a bunch of cops hunting whoever did this and then Jason just picking them off one by one.
Those dead kids in part 2, that's on Chris's watch.
Yes, it was.
When she got attacked by Jason, somehow was spared. Her not telling anybody, apparently she kept it to herself because
Which is weird because she...
after the events of part 1 and with Alice missing, they would have taken that seriously and be like, wait, you were attacked by someone too? They would have probably closed it down, not let them open back up.
Right.
What the hell, man? Chris is crazy at the end. And I believe it because she was such a nice girl, but almost too nice and too innocent. This probably destroyed her. So and unlike, one big difference too is like when Ginny survives at the end, she's like, where's Paul? Chris has seen her boy thrown through the fucking window. She knows he's dead and all her friends are dead too. And she found Debbie's body too.
So categories. Best performance. I'm going to go with Chris, damn it. No.
Hell no. I think she's one of the worst final girls. Well, I'll get that in a second. There's only one answer, and it's Vera. For me, I paid attention though. even the way she delivers her lines, she just gives her lines better too. She seems very likable. Vera or Shelley, because Shelley, what I like about Shelley is he has
a character arc.
and this is the only movie the actor ever did, and they took him off the streets because they were walking on the streets and they're like, hey, he looks like he'd be Shelley. He's an entertainment lawyer. Yeah, he's been the one giving the updates on the whole lawsuit between the writer and that. He's like kind of interpreting it on Facebook for the fans about like what's been going on, giving updates.
I need to follow his Facebook page then, because the fact that he's a lawyer.
Larry Zerner is his name, and he's also like he's always at all the conventions.
If I remember correctly, he's also gotten himself in pretty good shape too.
Oh yeah. Shelley's a stud now.
My favorite, I would have to go with Shelley because he has a character arc. Vera, she does too, but her character arc it holds only if Shelley's character arc is good. And so if Shelley's character arc ain't that good, hers isn't. So yeah, I like Shelley because of his character arc. He goes from, kind of innocent, shy to when he finally actually confronts Vera after that last stupid scare of his. She starts getting into her head like, oh, well, I have been pretty harsh on him, even though he's stupid.
I don't feel like there's a future romance there, but I feel like
they could have been good friends.
They were going to be good friends, and maybe she would have helped him out to deal with other girls, basically.
And get more confidence and all that. To be fair, Shelley's the one that killed all of these characters because he's the one who gave Jason the mask.
Yeah, and actually, what he did by bringing the mask, is actually the most memorable thing in the movie because this sets up the entire... Jason's popularity may have not been as popular without that damn mask. That mask...
Which is weird.
That mask is, like, iconic.
Which is weird because all it is just a random goalie hockey mask.
Yeah, but, I mean, Sackhead Jason wasn't going to become an icon.
Hell no. I'm kind of surprised they even got a sequel after part 1.
Worst performance.
It's
got to be...
I'm giving it to Chris because she's our main character. She literally has to be the glue to this movie. If all the other characters suck, as long as our main character is likable, the movie can still be likable. This movie, our main character is pretty shitty. The only good thing she does is during that final girl circuit, and then she honestly gets too damn scared to do anything at the very end. If Ali did not kill himself, she would have been raped, murdered, whatever Jason wanted to do to her.
She's just generic. Like, when coming from Ginny, who was like sassy, and going to like just straight generic nice girl, it is kind of like
it's a definite drop.
But the drop is not as steep as the drop from Paul to Rick. Rick, as the boyfriend or would-be boyfriend, in my opinion, is the worst male lead in the entire series. And I'm being nice by calling him the male lead, but I guess he is the male lead technically. Fucking Jason's probably the male lead actually. But as the love interest for the main girl, never has a final girl had to have a boyfriend so useless and so offered no help at the end except to walk outside and get his eye popped out. Every line of dialogue makes you hate him more as the movie goes. He can't even fight Jason. I mean, again, coming from Paul, the writers were like, okay, we had two strong like main characters in the first one who both fought Jason. They were like, let's give two of the weakest characters in contrast now. Why would you think the audience wants that after seeing two strong characters?
Yeah, a lot of people, when they watch these movies, honestly do want to put themselves in the main character's shoes. Be like, okay, what would I do in this? And when the main character, and if the main character does what they're already thinking and then fails, like, oh, well, I need to come up with something else. However, when you see a main character fail with everything, it's like, I just gotta not be her.
Yeah, not like that. The fact that he gave up a weekend with like whoever, Veronica, Betty, Sue, whoever it was. Yeah, I mean, he just messed up. I mean.
Anyway, so best scene. There's not much to choose from, so I'm giving it to the beginning.
Edna and Harold.
Yep. As you said, it's a pretty suspenseful scene, has a lot of decent takes. You already know there's danger out there when you see Jason just roaming around. And even though the 3D effects were shit and, Harold had his gooey booty, the deaths are actually pretty painful because I doubt Harold died right off the bat.
Yeah.
And also you get a fluffy bunny.
I think that's the real reason why you love it so much. Fluffy bunny. I still will go with the whole end chase sequence. I think was If I had to go back and watch a sequence on YouTube, it would definitely be like the end chase scene. Everything before the barn, not the barn part, but everything with the car and the bridge and them just running on the bridge.
And also, I should just mention, if I've said this before and I'll say it again, if the movie has its best scene in the beginning, there are some issues.
The best scene, actually, I'm gonna be honest, is the opening credits. That damn disco song is catchy as hell, and I'm gonna stick with that. I definitely like listening to that disco song. I'm all for that.
Worst scene.
Oh, easy. Well, not easy per se.
Yeah, there's plenty. Honestly, I'm giving it to. I'm going to cheat because they're pretty much back to back, and that's Chuck and Chili's death scenes.
Yep, I agree.
Mainly because Chuck, again, walks into the hand that throws him against the electrical board, and Chili walks into the fire poker because you got scared by a damn door blowing open.
I feel like the scriptwriters forgot about them, and then towards the end, remember, like, hey, they're still alive. We got to kill them. They're the two least cared about characters, but they're somehow there at the end, and you're just like, wait a minute.
I feel like they were added last just for more bodies.
Yeah, because it's kind of like, how do they outlive the other teen characters who are given way more attention and time than them? Like, nobody, when they die, it's literally, you don't care at all. So that was just, those are the worst, most useless characters.
What would you change?
Easy.
The main characters.
I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you're going to spend the whole first half of the movie developing Vera and Shelley, make them the main characters, because that's such an interesting dynamic if Jason's like against them at the end with all this stuff going on with them. Super interesting. And they just like, again, the writers like, they gave them a lot of time and character development, and then when it came time for the kills, they're just like, let's kill them first. It's like, huh?
No, I would have killed off Chris and Rick first.
Oh my God, thank you, please.
And then honestly follow Shelley and Vera. And it just feels, whether they both survive or only one survives, it still feels like a good dynamic to go with.
I think Shelley sacrificed himself for her is like a perfect ending.
Oh, especially with Shelley, yeah. That would be a perfect end for Shelley.
That makes so much sense, because realistically, it solves the problem of like, okay, you can't see them kissing at the end. It's not gonna be anything romantic. So how do you like solve it to where it's like still a happy ending? It's like, it's perfect if he does something to
distract Jason, which gets him killed, but then Vera has the time to go back and kill Jason.
Not only that, but if the Shelley Vera thing is in the barn at the end and Ali comes back, those characters actually have the history. Shelley, Ali, and Vera. It makes way more sense for him to interfere with them, and it makes it then ironic that even though he had beef with Shelley,
those two team up to fight Jason.
He's still coming to his rescue with them, basically. Like, it makes so much sense on so many levels,
and also
instead of boring-ass Chris.
And also, they would have actually had somewhat of a fighting chance of, again, Ollie and Shelley, because Shelley's a big guy. I guarantee you, he gets on top of Jason. Jason's going to have a hard time throwing him off. And
well, my thought is everything.
As long as it's human Jason.
My thought is still, I mean, ultimately everything that Chris did, Vera could have done in the female role. And then I picture just something where Shelley gets knocked out, but then maybe he does something at the end. I don't see Shelley actually physically entangling with Jason.
Well, again, Shelley and Ollie going up against Jason still would have done something.
90% Ali and Shelley doing something.
If Shelley gets on top of Jason, Ollie could have been pounding his face in. And then Shelley gets him disemboweled, and Ollie gets his head torn off. But then
if Shelley,
Vera would have came in with the axe and beheaded Jason.
If Shelley could have the kill shot and have the line saying, amazing. If he's like, give me back my mask. Dude. Just let him say, like, I want my mask back. Dude, come on. I should send that to the dude on Facebook, like this like fan fiction. We should send him the actor and be like, dude, would this been the best ending? I think the writers didn't know what they had right in the characters, because, like I said, I've seen that thought I've seen expressed on Facebook many times.
That Shelley and Vera should have been the main characters?
As you watch it now, because you follow them to the store, all that stuff, it feels like you're following their characters more, just as much as you are following Chris. I do feel nostalgic about this movie to a degree, because I watched this movie a lot growing up. As a kid, it was always a fun movie to watch on Friday the 13th. I considered it for a long time one of my favorite Friday the 13th movies. Watching it now with a critical eye, it is terrible. There's some redeeming qualities, but I think the biggest fail is just that the 3D effects are so distractingly bad because you're not watching in 3D now, you're just watching it like on video, and effects they're trying to go for, the eye popping out, the damn yo-yo, the stick in your eye, it just looks so lame. Chris and Rick, for me, are the worst leading people. I don't want to say in the series because I'm not remembering everybody right now, but they stand out as like the weakest, lamest characters I can think of. And outside of Vera and Shelley, all the characters are pretty much unlikable, and you're rooting for Jason for the most part. So, that said, it's not the worst movie in the series. It's watchable. I'm going to generously still say 2 stars. I don't think I can go 1 star on it. It's middle of the pack. I'm going to say 2 stars.
Positives, it's a Jason movie. So don't expect any positives. Anyway.
What?
The positive is it's a Jason movie, so you know what you're getting into when you go see this. You're not expecting a great movie. You're expecting more either middle of the pack or just downright so stupid it's fun to get a bunch of friends, get some alcohol, get some popcorn, and laugh at it. And that's honestly what you get with this movie. You can definitely tell that the 3D aspect of it was given the most play. It's definitely the most play out of the script. It's the most play out of the actual cinematography. It's the most play out of everything in this. And that's saying something because you don't need good actors to make this movie. But you do need actors that are somewhat likable. Or at least characters that are somewhat likable. This one, none of the characters, minus 2, are likable. Jason was more likable than Chris or Rick.
Ouch.
And no one should be saying that. Jason was more likable than Chris and Rick. No one should be saying that.
I'm just saying Ali was likable.
The 3D aspect, I get the film caused a lot of people headaches when it first came out, especially since it was the blue and red 3D glasses. A lot of the kills were boring or rehashed from previous. Our would-be fight scene never happened because Rick find out he's a pansy. And then our main girl just...
Blah.
She is a giant piece of blah.
Let me add to that blah and say meh.
Yeah, exactly. She is a giant piece of meh blah. Meh blah. So, overall, this movie isn't terrible to watch if you're drunk, with friends, have popcorn.
It's a lot of stuff you got to do. Jesus.
So, overall, I'm going to give this movie a 1. Because if you need to be drunk to enjoy a movie, it's not a movie worth having.
You don't got to go home?
But you got to get me some chicken nuggets.
And if you see a sign that says Higgins Haven, just keep driving. Don't stop there. Because there might be a barn and Jason might be in the barn.
Well, just burn the barn down and Jason won't be in the barn. He'll be in your kitchen.
Yeah, but while burning the barn down...
With a fire poker.
While burning the barn down, you have to walk in the barn, and then you're going to hang off the rope thing, and then you go missing, and then a random white guy comes in and look for you, and he dies too. And then the leader of the gang, Ali, he comes in, and he dies also. So you killed your whole gang.
Yeah, how dare you, Fox?